Hello, Mr. Wayne.
I'm Lukman.
I'm Edward.
I'm Wayne.
I'm Vishen.
I'm Benson.
And
today we'll be sharing our reflection on our past 3 years in the Diploma in Sports Coaching using Gibb's reflective model.
In year 1, we were introduced to different modules such as S362, Inclusive Physical Activity, where we learned about modified sports and how we can adapt sports to all levels of ability, and S661, Learn to Coach Basketball, where we were taught basketball techniques and strategies and how to coach them to participants. In year 2, we went through more interesting modules like S212, Sports and Exercise Prescription, where we learned how to prescribe optimal and appropriate training for different athletes, and S211, Injury Prevention and Management, where we were introduced to sport injuries and how we can manage them as a coach and athlete. Some of us also got to go to Vietnam for our school overseas trip, where we visited sport facilities and learned the history of Vietnam. Finally, in our final and current year, we went for internship. Wayne did his internship at Woodlands Secondary School, I did my internship at a longboard academy, Edward did his at Ministry of Education at the Physical, Sports and Outdoor Education branch, Yuxuan at a cycling esports company, while Benson did his at a badminton academy. We are also involved in our final year projects. Benson worked on his own team's project on inclusive sport programs for seniors, while the rest of us worked on a Train the Trainer program for seniors. Most of us were also in different interest groups, Wayne and Benson in badminton, me in dragon boat, Edward in track. We managed to compete in Polite, where we all earned bronze, silver and gold medals in our respective sports.
At the start of year 1, we felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. We were eager to begin this new chapter and explore what it had to offer. But at the same time, we were anxious about whether we could handle the schoolwork and the responsibilities of becoming a coach. Many of us felt overwhelmed by RP's problem-based learning approach, especially with the constant switching of groups for different modules. For Edward and Benson, coming straight from secondary school made the transition feel even more scary. In contrast, Lukman, Wayne and me, who came from tertiary institutions, felt slightly more prepared but still experienced some uncertainty about adapting into this new environment. As we move on into year 2, our emotions began to shift. We started feeling more confident as we became accustomed to RP's learning style. However, there were still moments of self-doubt that crept in when we struggled with certain modules. For some of us, practical modules such as Practical Studies Basketball and Instructional Strategies 1 and 2 caused feelings of frustration because of our limited experience in sports teams, which made it difficult to teach or explain technical and tactical skills. Others felt overwhelmed by the theoretical modules, such as kinesiology and performance analysis, because the content was challenging to understand and digest, and the lessons often felt quite dry. Despite the struggles, we were determined to push through the challenges by leveraging on each other's strengths in each module. And lastly, in our final year during our internships, our emotions were a roller coaster. There were moments of joy when things went well and when we adapted successfully to the working lifestyle. At the same time, there were moments of frustrations when we faced challenges or felt unsure about how to handle unfamiliar situations. We often felt nervous about making a good impression on the athletes, the MOE staff, or investors of the company that we were working for. But we were also proud that we managed to communicate effectively and complete the task given successfully. Looking back now, we feel a deep sense of pride and gratitude for all the experiences that have shaped us into who we are today.
Looking back at the 3-year journey in the Diploma in Sports Coaching, there were both highs and lows. Some of the most rewarding moments came from successfully executing training sessions and receiving positive feedback from lecturers and athletes. This was especially noticeable in modules such as Instructional Strategies 1 and 2 and Practical Studies Basketball, where students had multiple opportunities to practice coaching, develop structured training plans, and refine their delivery. Overall, RP's pedagogy and PBL learning format allows us to grow into a more competent coaches and individuals. Through the different theoretical and practical modules, we were able to grasp new knowledge and skills to add to our repertoire. However, there were also challenges in our school life, such as balancing schoolwork and our sports training session. One challenge we all experienced was adapting to different athletes' needs. Some athletes quickly grasp new skills, while others required additional explanations, demonstrations, or modified drills. For instance, during the Learn to Coach basketball module, we initially struggled to balance coaching both technically strong and weaker players in the same session. More time was often spent with individuals who needed extra support, which sometimes disrupted the flow of training. During the internship phase, we were further exposed to these challenges in real-world coaching environments. Whether working in schools, sports academies, or organizations, we had difficulty adapting and modifying our training sessions to accommodate all ability levels. Over time, we became more confident in adjusting training intensity and providing individualized feedback. Personally, during my internship at Woodland Secondary School, I encountered similar challenges when working with students of varying abilities. At first, I found it difficult to strike the right balance, but after receiving some help, I became more confident in adjusting training intensity and providing individualized feedback. The rest of us also faced different challenges during our respective internships. Lukman's challenge was learning how to handle the different aspects of a coaching business. Edward had trouble managing parents' expectations. Ishan faced workplace discrimination, and Benson found it difficult to manage athletes' expectations and emotions. However, over time, we were able to overcome them with help from our RP supervisors, work supervisors, and through experience.
The challenges we all experienced was adapting to the different athletes' needs. This was due to our lack of experience as coaches. This experience highlighted the importance of time management, differentiated instruction, and an active observation to ensure all athletes benefited equally.
When coaching during our internship phase, we had to apply strategies learned in modules such as inclusive physical activity to modify training plans for different ability levels. As we are inexperienced with creating and modifying lesson plans for different individuals, we had to seek guidance from our mentors and friends. With mentorship and more hands-on experience with different ability levels, we became more confident in adjusting training intensity and providing individualized feedback.
As mentioned earlier, in my internship teaching at Woodland Secondary School, I had to apply strategies from inclusive physical activity to modify exercises for overweight or students with disabilities while ensuring more advanced students remain engaged. If I do not modify my lesson plan, I will not be able to effectively engage my students and conduct an effective session. And through the trial and feedbacks from my mentors and my experience, I became more confident in adjusting training intensity and providing a more individualized feedback.
Reflecting on these experiences, it became noticeable how crucial effective communication and adaptability are in coaching. Initially, many assumed that a well-structured lesson plan would be sufficient. However, in practice, constant adjustments were necessary based on real-time feedback from athletes. Research has shown that it's important to emphasize the need for coaches to be flexible and responsive to athletes' needs rather than strictly following a rigid training structure.
This diploma provided a strong foundation in both theoretical knowledge and practical application, reinforcing the idea that coaching is a continuous learning process. The importance of continuous learning cannot be overstated, as this really allows coaches to stay updated on the latest research, technologies, and methodologies, ensuring we will then provide the best possible guidance to athletes. That in turn lead to optimized overall development and success, which is ideally desired for both parties, the athletes and their coaches. Continuous learning allows us to find and then seize opportunities for professional development. Meanwhile, while significant growth was achieved in planning and delivering training sessions, there is still much more to learn, particularly in fine-tuning an athlete-centered coaching approach to meet the diverse needs of athletes in different sporting environments, including those with disabilities such as Down syndrome, autism, and physical disabilities, to create an accessible coaching environment. By tailoring our coaching approach together, we can discover each athlete's unique strengths, build confidence, and ignite a passion for excellence. This personalized approach will spark meaningful breakthroughs, drive progress, and cultivate a lifelong love of sport. In the span of our 3 years, 6 semesters, hundreds of weeks and lessons, our journey in the Diploma of Sports Coaching is now vividly engraved in our minds, one filled with valuable opportunities, growth, and lessons, amidst all other challenges. Recalling, something we could have executed in a different way was seeking of feedback and mentorship. It only happened towards the back of events, especially when adapting to different coaching environments. During multiple instances, potential failures arose hesitation and or fear held us back from adjusting sooner. Nonetheless, through our ups and downs and exposure, we learned the importance of proactiveness in terms of coaching strategies refinement. Another realization was that as much as theoretical knowledge provides us strong foundation, practical application and being flexible on the spot are just, if not more important in real-world coaching. Each of us identified key strengths such as communication, leadership, and problem solving. Meanwhile, we also recognize areas for improvement, like the management of expectations and difficult situations confidently. Our internships emphasize heavily on inclusiveness and individualized coaching, reminding us that all athletes learn differently, and approaches used for teaching them need to tweak accordingly. All in all, a unique and irreplaceable phase of constant learning and teaching in Republic Polytechnic.
Moving forward, we plan to keep refining our skills through gaining more practical experience in the working world, attending coaching courses, and seeking guidance from experienced coaches. We also want to stay updated with the latest sports science advancements to ensure we provide the best for our athletes. Most importantly, we will continue reflecting on our coaching practices to become more effective and adaptive coaches. For Edward, who intends to be a physical education teacher in the near future, he plans to seek mentorship and experience through his track and field coach and teammates who is already a physical education teacher. By observing and applying the class and student management skills through part-time coaching classes, he will have a better grasp of the comprehensive soft skills needed to excel in that field. Wayne plans to pursue the path of physical education teacher too. He intends to achieve that by furthering his studies in NTU and NIE, and equip himself with the necessary skills and knowledge to deliver an effective lesson through experiences like coaching courses. Next up is Benson, who has his sights set on becoming a professional badminton player and coach. He plans to do so by applying the knowledge that has been imparted into him over the past 3 years, which provided him with a diverse mixture of both theory and practical expertise in the field of sport, allowing him to effectively excel in his intended field of profession. Next, we have Yu Xuan, who recognized his strength and familiarity with the field of study of sports science through his ability to excel in informational and analytical modules like performance analysis. He plans to further his studies in that field in a local university like NTU, which offers sports science management. However, he does have a secondary action plan up his sleeve, which is to sign on with the Singapore Armed Forces to secure a stable income for his future. Lastly, we have Lukman, who plans to diversify his career opportunities by upskilling himself with courses and occupational opportunities of different fields with which speaks to him. He plans to harness any opportunity like an overseas job offer at a language school in Japan to expand his social network and broaden his horizons to what the world has to offer, not only in terms of career pathways, but culture and way of living too.
And with that, our 3 years in RP has come to an end. Challenges and invaluable lessons help shape us not just as coaches, but also individuals. Peace out! Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow.